skills and so on and so forth. I think the challenge is in the implementation. It's a new idea. We can't keep saying also as well like it's a teething problem, but also the right question to ask is how can we make it work? Because if we keep saying the idea is really good, then what are the things that we need to do so that we ensure that the idea is fully implemented? In addition to government, just going back to my point previously, what also can we also do? Because you see the challenges we are facing. The truth is government cannot solve all our challenges. We all have a role to play. For example, what can parents do to support their learners? Because you see, you can't keep saying it's the role of the teacher alone to make sure that the child is fully educated. The parents have a role to play. How can community members, just as like John Mugo was saying, play their role? How can we all individually make sure that we are contributing to make sure that this program is a success?
Okay, and of course that brings me to the question: is it an advantage or a disadvantage to few? I mean, because then we have seen the discrepancies that we're actually talking about, and in as much as perhaps society would come in to contribute and make this work, CBC in itself, is it painting a picture of something that is a disadvantage and an advantage to different quarters?
I wouldn't say so, Linda. CBC, as it is packaged, should fit within the haves and the have-nots.
But this is not happening. So how do we,
This is not happening because of lack of knowledge, lack of awareness.
Okay.
I'm a parent to a CBC grade 9. And in this particular school, of course, it's private. Every year since they were in grade 3, they have a serious parental awareness day, where when a child transits to grade 4, we are all called to school, grade 4 parents, and we are taken through each learning area so that we know what is going on. Of course, this is not happening to the rest of the parents in the rest of the country, that is. So the question is, when will these other parents, because I can talk as a teacher, I can also talk as a parent who is enabled through my son's school.
Right.
So who else is doing this? Is the government also creating awareness of this CBC to the same parents? Because until, as a community, we know what CBC looks like, however long it's going to take, we will still criticize it. So we must come to a point where we all understand what CBC is, and we are able to articulate CBC. This is what is happening in CBC. We were just talking a few minutes ago and telling ourselves the way no one even knows where grade 9 are going to. What are the pathways? Okay, when we are talking about competencies, what is going on? So when you're looking at those children in Baringo and you're talking about digital literacy, self-efficacy, when do these teachers assess these skills?
Okay.
Yeah, so we need to be aware so that when we are sending our children to school, then we want to see a changed child at home, so that it is not just the same old system that is coming back. So that we start questioning the system from a point of knowledge, not from a point of hearsay, speculation, and the likes. Yeah.
Okay. And when you talk about awareness, then I am curious, and I would want to ask, just how aware are the stakeholders, in the education sector, so that they can help us then address? Because you see, some of the stories that we've carried tonight are talking about the social economic factors that are, limitations and are bringing in these inequalities that we see affecting the students. One would want to understand just how do we address some of this to ensure that then we have the ability to make sure that the competency-based curriculum gets to address this and benefit students in the country equally. Because, I mean, these are students that are going to be released to the same job market. How do we expect for them to perform? How do we expect to create a balance when they have witnessed these kinds of inequalities while we're just sitting there not addressing them?
What essentially we're talking about here is a budget issue, is a funding issue. Because we migrated into a new system that is costly, with maintaining the same trajectory of funding, that had been there. And when we look at the cost of CBC, we just don't look at how much money it's costing.
Okay.
We look at what are called the opportunity costs. If we don't do it, how much is it going to cost us as a country? And I think it's already costing us. Because if we have a crisis of youth now, because of the previous system that was only working for 10% of children, and that's why we have a youth crisis. We went through a system where we were taught to, pass KCP, go to a national school, pass, go to the university, get a job. The jobs are not there. So that the frustration that has been there simmering because of the inefficiencies of the previous system is what we are seeing now.
All right.
Now, what we are likely to see is even worse if we don't take care of this, because then we will be having a youth, young people who are thinking and are able to solve many problems, meaning also they're able to create problems. Whoever can solve a problem can also create one when the situation calls for. And I think it's going to be really bad. So I think the way we prioritized housing and all that, we would have to, if the president had created, for instance, a CBC fund, so that we're not looking at the 658 billion, because education now, when you look at the national budget, has the highest
allocation.
In terms of allocation,
right.
But that money is not enough. So we have to ask ourselves, how must we now fund CBC so that teachers are well trained, the infrastructure needed is there, and urgently, because this can't wait, because it's about 17 million of children that are going to be in the system by the time we are reaching grade 12.